Pakhtunkhwa Information Technology Board. So we have this mandate for the whole province to make interventions in the public sector and also to uplift the private sector. So we have a number of initiatives that we have taken. I would admit that we are a bit late when it comes to having a proper digital governance framework, a mature framework in place. But on the positive end, what has happened is that a lot of countries have already done it. So we have a lot of case studies to look at, and we can take the positives from those successful models that have worked, and we can also learn from those models that have not worked. So we have a list of do's and don'ts with us, and we have a preliminary framework which I'm going to go through in a while. I think this is the wrong presentation. I have a different presentation to start with, and this comes later on. Yes. This is actually a very interesting project that we are really enthusiastic about, and I'm going to go through this in a while. Yes, this is the right one. So you can go to the next slide, please. So this is a snapshot of the preliminary framework that we have for digital governance in KP. And as you can see that it focuses on improving the public sector delivery at first. And what we are trying to do is we are developing an integrated system that would work really well for the general public in the province of KP. And what we are trying to do is we are doing the backend digitalization of all those citizen-facing services, and we are going to provide those services in a very convenient way for the general public. And this is something which is very basic, and it's there in place in so many different places, but not, unfortunately, in the province of KP. But we intend to change that in the next 6 to 8 months. Something that we are really interested about is improving and digitalizing the processes which are there in the government departments to improve their efficiency, to also bring transparency and make them more accountable. So what we are trying to do is we are developing a framework to make the government paperless. And you may have seen in the news that about a couple of months ago, the government of UAE, they announced that Dubai is the first truly paperless government in the world. And what we are trying to do is we are doing the same thing. And in the next, again, 6 to 8 months, we are going to make Khyber Pakhtunkhwa's government truly paperless. We've done an extensive business process review exercise over the course of 1.5 years. And now we are almost at the stage where the development of our paperless government document workflow management system is going to start. What we are also trying to focus on is to have an open government data framework in place. We already have an open government policy and an open government strategy. And we are also cognizant of the fact that with the kind of digitalization drive that we have started, the more digital assets that we create, information security and privacy is going to become of paramount importance, and we are really focusing on improving our cybersecurity, to ensure that our digital assets are kept safe. And very recently, the federal government, they announced their first cybersecurity policy, and we also have a data privacy policy in place, a data protection law actually in place, and that was announced very recently about a couple of months ago. So on the policy level and also on ground, we are working really hard in collaboration with different stakeholders throughout the country to make sure that we make a significant impact and we truly transform the province of KP, make it a digitally enabled province. Next, please. Oh, okay. Something which, again, we are really focused on, one reason is because all of you might be aware that there are certain skill sets in which there are skill shortages globally. Also, if we look at our demographics in the province of KP and overall in Pakistan, we have a very young population, and almost 60 to 64% of our population is under the age of 30. And if we can equip them with the right kind of skills, and we transition towards having a really competitive digital workforce, I think that can truly transform the landscape of Pakistan. We can grow our economy at a pace that we really expect it to grow at. So what we are trying to do is we have launched, you can see some of the programs which we have already launched. And very recently, I'm very happy to say that I was able to convince the provincial government, and they've been able to allocate a sizable budget of almost $30 million to upskill 100,000 young people in the province of KP in digital skills, advanced digital skills. Some of them, they include cybersecurity, AI, blockchain, 3D design and animation, almost all those skills, all of those skills which are quite in demand in the market. So we also believe in true digital inclusion. So we also focus on different segments of the society who are otherwise considered to be deprived of such opportunities. So in Pakistan, the participation of women in workforce is quite low. So we have started and concluded some programs which focus specifically on women. Recently, we concluded a program in which we were able to train 3,000 women entrepreneurs. And very recently, we launched a new program. We call it Khuddar. And through that program, we are going to upskill 1,000 disabled people. So that is something that we are really looking forward to. So skill development is something that we really value a lot, and we believe that it's going to have a truly transformative impact in the province of KP and overall in Pakistan. I'll just quickly go through some other initiatives that we have recently started. So on the left, we have this new initiative, which was recently started by the federal government. They created a special technology zone authority. The idea is to focus on increasing the exports, the ICT-related exports. And there is a set of incentives that are there to be offered by the federal government for each special technology zone. So we are going to develop 5 special technology zones in the province of KP. And one of the early harvest projects is the Pakistan Digital City, which has already been given, and it's already been approved as a special technology zone by the federal government. And it's eligible to get a set of very lucrative incentives by the federal government. So I'm going to give you an idea of what those incentives look like, and those are quite good. Pakistan Digital City, Haripur, it's about 40 minutes away from the federal capital, and it's going to get all of the facilities. It's also, the infrastructure-based facilities are going to be based on some of the best that you can get anywhere in the world. And also there is a very, very strong ecosystem, supportive and nourishing ecosystem, I would say, around the project. We have 6 very good universities that are producing graduates in different areas, whether it be business graduates, whether it be graduates in ICT-related disciplines. So we have incubators around that space. We have business process outsourcing facilities. So we have different, like I said, we have all the right kind of facilities surrounding that area. Then we are running a network of incubators in KP, 7 of them in total, but we need to expand them to almost 15 in the near future, and that's going to happen in the next year because we have the kind of funding that we require to make it work. Workaround is our 24/7 business process outsourcing facility, where we have a number of companies with us who get work outsourced from different parts of the world, especially the US, some countries from the EU. So, and we are expanding that because we've been able to create a lot of jobs through our business process outsourcing facility. So that is something that we're doing. These 3 slides, they basically are meant to give you a rough idea of what we're trying to do, but they do not encompass everything that we do. Like I said, we have a number of initiatives that are targeted at ensuring that we have a sustainable digital governance framework in place. And again, there are certain initiatives to help grow the digital economy in the province. So can you please move to the presentation that was shown a while ago? So, like I said, the first special technology zone that we are going to develop within the next few months, that is the Pakistan Digital City in Haripur. And it's going to have facilities like, for example, we have space available for all those companies that intend to set up their own purpose-built facilities over there. We're also going to have an IT park building over there in which we will have co-working space facilities. We will have an incubator over there, and we will have space to accommodate small to mid-sized companies also in that project. And this is basically the set of incentives that are offered to each special technology zone throughout Pakistan. And like I said, since our project has already been approved as a special technology zone, so you can get all of these incentives over there. And apart from these incentives, something that usually when we have discussions with any foreign enterprise that intend to start their operations in Pakistan, something that they are concerned about is availability of skilled human resource. And like I said, so many projects that we have launched over the past couple of years, they focus on skill development. And we intend to change that in the next 1 or 2 years. Like I said, we are going to train 100,000 people in different skill sets that are really in demand in the market. So we are going to take care of that aspect also. So starting from income tax exemption to profit tax rate, excise duties, exemption from them. There are a list of incentives that are offered by the federal government. But on top of that, we are working on a set of incentives that are provided by the provincial government of KP, which are going to be in addition to all of those incentives that are on offer by the federal government. So I really am quite hopeful. Like I said, my team has been here for the last 7 to 10 days. And they've already told me about the kind of interest that some of the companies over here, they've shown to extend their operations in Pakistan. So I would really love to get connected with you and give you more details about the possibilities of collaborating. Or if you want to come to Pakistan, set up your office over there, start working from there, we would love to host you over there and tell you more about what's on offer. So that's a little bit of what we have. And a lot of interesting things are happening in Pakistan. I was listening to a panel discussion, and it was rightly mentioned that we do have a lot of raw talent. And if you invest in that talent, equip them with the right kind of skills, the possibilities are endless. And our people are very creative, and they're very good in something called jugaad, jerry rigging, right? And there is a book written on it also. Maybe some of you have been able to read that book. So that also shows you how creative our people are. So thank you very much once again for having us here. It's been a pleasure to interact with all of you. And we're still here, and I would love to connect with all of you, listen to what you're doing. And if you are interested in doing something in Pakistan, we'll be more than happy to accommodate you over there, host you over there, and give you more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'll have a Q&A session now, so we're open to questions. Anybody wants to ask, can have a seat as well.
Is it working? Yeah. Thank you so much. So I wanted to, I was wondering, you mentioned projects that focus on skilled development. And how are you leveraging the people here in Bay Area to help you out currently? I know you mentioned that you're looking for further collaborations, but curious to hear more about what current collaborations you have going on. Thanks.
So we are working with different stakeholders. Like I said, some of them are from the government. And then we are also working with UNDP. We are working with the World Bank. In collaboration with them, we have structured the program in such a way that it offers something to, like I said, we focus on true digital inclusion. So there are certain programs that are tailored specifically for women. And then there are certain programs that are open for everybody. We have signed an agreement with Udacity. So, for example, we, in collaboration with them, we are going to offer nano degree programs in different areas that are in demand. We are going to offer global certifications, again, which are in demand in cybersecurity and different areas. And then we are also going to place some people in collaboration with the private sector players. So if they are able to complete their training successfully, they'll be immediately placed in different companies throughout Pakistan, because we've already taken requirements from them, the kind of talent that they are searching for, but is not currently available. So we also conduct a regular survey on a quarterly basis or a biannual basis. We search these different online job platforms, and we see which particular skill sets are in demand. So based on that, we structure the program accordingly, and then we offer those skills by taking industrial partners on board who are able to then train them in different skill sets. So this is how we usually do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your introduction and different projects that you mentioned. One question I had was the initiatives that you mentioned in different stages of the progress that they are. Is there one or two that we can today, from Silicon Valley perspective or US perspective, can jump on right away and see like where can we contribute, especially as Pakistanis ourselves?
Sure. So regarding the skill development program, since it's going to be launched on probably the biggest scale, it's going to be unprecedented in Pakistan, because there have been small initiatives here and there, but nobody has started an upskilling program which is this big. I mean, to train 100,000 people in a time span of 2 years, that's a big challenge. So obviously we can, the more partners that we collaborate with, the better impact we can create. Like I said, we also have these infrastructure-based projects, especially the special technology zones. So if any company intends to set up their operations in Pakistan, I would really encourage that, because we have, like I said before, we have very good raw talent available. You just need to invest even a couple of months of time if you can give them the right kind of training, especially work on their soft skills, their project management skills, their communication skills. I think they can be really helpful for any business. So that is something primarily that we're looking at, and to collaborate with different entities here. And again, we are running an incubator program. So we are trying to establish partnerships with incubators over here, so that every incubator, they have a different curriculum. They have their own strengths and weaknesses. So obviously we can learn a lot from them to improve our program over there in KP, learn from their experiences, and offer better value to our startups. Sorry?
I think we're going to end the Q&A session for now, but thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ali Mahmud. That was a great session. And I think we have a lot of industry partners here. I myself will be, hopefully reaching out to you for Salesforce administrator certifications. And I hope there are other corporate partners do the same for upskilling our Pakistani students and even workers in tech. I would like to move on to our next session. So this is a panel discussion session, and I will let the speakers introduce themselves this time. I think they'll do a better job at it than most of us trying to do it. But for the next session, we have Hasib Khan, who's remote-based CTO. And then we have Adil Raza, who is also remote-based CTO. Yeah, I guess they'll do it. I guess we're all CTOs for remote-based then. No? Okay. And then we also have Harish Shamsi, who's the CEO for 01 Hire. So please come on stage, and thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much. So, okay, so remote base, they don't have all three CTOs, and I'm not the CEO for OneHire. I'm the founder and chief growth officer. And OneHire.com is a platform which uses AI to validate the tech talent and do some matchmaking in terms of connecting the right resources to the employers. And I'll let you guys introduce, starting from you, Talha.
Thank you, G. My name is Talha Masood, and I'm the co-founder of RemoteBase.com. So RemoteBase is a platform where we connect engineers from emerging economies with the companies here in Silicon Valley, Bay Area. We have 60 to 70% engineers from Pakistan. And right now, there are 32,000 registered engineers on the platform, out of which 12,000 have taken the tests and are pretty engaged on the platform. The big news about us right now is right now we are interviewing a few Pakistanis in Amazon here in the US. So fingers crossed. Thank you.
So my name is Adil Raza. I'm not the CTO of RemoteBase. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Unlayer, Mailmunch, and also co-founder of one of the largest Muslim matchmaking apps called Salams. We just completed our Y Combinator graduation for Unlayer. So we are very excited to hire and invest in Pakistani talent.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Hasib Khan, and I am the founding member and vice president of technology at Texcel. Texcel is a software services company, and the company started out of Pakistan from a university lab, and now we are more than 500 people company. So we provide services in the area of software development, and then we provide Salesforce-related consulting, Microsoft Dynamics, etc., and innovations as well, services on AI, machine learning, blockchain, IoT, and all these things. So really happy to be here. Looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here with us. So everybody's talking about talent, right? Starting from Atif and Dr. Naveed Shivani and then Fatma Kardar. Everybody's talking about talent, right? And we see a lot of absorption happening right now. Post-COVID, everybody's going remote. And world is truly global now, right? So Talha, starting from you, how you see this trend, and is this trend going to last? Because you have been not only operating in Pakistan, but I think Nigeria, and you're continuously expanding, mashallah. So how do you look at this requirement growth, sudden requirement growth?
When COVID struck, so everybody had a startup idea, let's be honest. So we also are a COVID baby, by the way, remote base. So we started in COVID back in April 2020. Everybody had an idea, okay, let's build something to connect people, or, to just save humanity, let's be honest. So, and everybody wanted engineers back then. Like we were just starting off, and we had our first client, and then they referred us to somebody else, and then, the supply was limited and demand was a lot. Over the years, it has changed a bit. So, for example, now I see back then, every company wanted an engineer. They just wanted an engineer. Now, not so much. They want qualified engineers. And I see that there is a constant demand that people, and especially companies here in Silicon Valley, they look for engineers with a very good product mindset. So the demand is still there, but it has subsided to some extent. So let's be honest, people are now more aware that if they are just going to go out and look for engineers, probably it's not the best strategy out there. The best strategy here is you look for somebody who's vetted already, has a very good mindset, and has worked on something that you're working on, stuff like that. And then all these companies emerged that started, vetting for you, vetting as a service, and we were one of them. We created a platform, Developersmorebase.com. Anybody can just come on the platform, sign up as an engineer, and they have to take certain tests. And then obviously, until the point they are considered top 1%, only then we match with these companies. So the demand is still there. But now people are very cautious that they look for engineers with a very good, either technical background or very good product mindset, or engineers who are like self-starters versus, just for engineers. So that's just my idea.
That's very important. So what you're saying is now the curve is stabilizing in a way that people are more conscious about the quality. So it's not just tunnel view coders coming in. So you need some sort of exposure which can, relate to more of a quality coding than just the coding, for example.
Exactly, because back in 2020, everybody just wanted an engineer. So for example, every XYZ person had this idea that, let's make an app that lets you connect in, while you're not
Makes
getting out of
sense.
your house. So
Makes
they
sense.
just wanted engineers, but now companies are very serious towards hiring the right engineers. And that is what has shifted in these last 2 years. And I've seen it happening in front of me.
Yeah, that's very important, the definition of right engineer. Adil, coming to you, you have Muzmatch, you have MailMunch, 2 startups creating vibes in the market already. So most of your team is based out of Pakistan, and how do you see this talent acquisition and what kind of quality resources you find in Pakistan? What is your view about Pakistani talent right now?
Sure, but a little bit of correction there. Muzmatch is our competitor, so
sorry.
we run Salams.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, so we have close to 100 engineers in Pakistan, and then a few dozen in Latin America. So yeah, we have seen that, like Talha mentioned, the demand for engineers pre-COVID was pretty different than post-COVID. It was much easier to retain talent in Pakistan pre-COVID than it is now, because there's global companies coming and looking and hiring directly from Pakistan, which was hardly ever the case before COVID. So yeah, it's been like a Watergate moment.
Yeah. So Haseeb, with 500 plus people in your company and doing a lot of, I think, North American projects also, right? How do you see the difference interacting with the demand side here versus the talent readiness in Pakistan? And we'll come back to this point at how we can address these gaps. But to understand, because I think you have been doing more on the enterprise software development sort of projects.
So we have actually worked both with startups, like from bootstrap stage startups all the way to Fortune 10 companies. So there had been like talent needs all across the whole layer, and the needs have been like very different. Like I mean, in some cases, people are just looking for people who can just go in and can be code ninjas and they can just code, right? In some cases, people are looking for people who have a product mindset. So they can just like take a single line and then they can think through the whole thing and implement it instead of just like hitting against the wall. So the need has been really different, but really what people from the valley or otherwise what they are looking for are people who can speak their mind out as well. So they are not just, they are not just doers. And especially the feedback that we have also, figured from some of our customers are that people in Pakistan, India, in these cultures, they are typically yes man, right? That they don't challenge you or they don't give you any ideas how a certain thing should be done, or maybe give you a pushback at a certain timeline that it cannot be met. It's not realistic or something. So overall, the people are really looking for developers who are not just developers but all round product people, and generally that is sort of a thing which normally is not there from a cultural standpoint as well in the South Asian side. But now, as Talha and Adil said, the remote work is basically catching up, and people have now started to tame themselves towards this particular area as well, improving their soft skills and others. And we also, since into the services business, we are also working very closely with the developers to develop these mindset in them.
And how do you accelerate this? So it's a very, very important point. And I think Sabzad Ali Mahmud was also mentioning about these boot camps and specified trainings, right? So demand side, meeting the demand side and everything. How in your company you are accelerating this exposure or quality, or how you are transforming your workforce right now?
Right. So Texcel is all about nurturing talent. So what we are doing. So we have like expert group sessions within the company. So for every practice, there is an expert group session at least twice a week. So every team comes in, they basically present what challenges they are going through, how they solve the problem, and why they chose a particular methodology to solve that particular problem. And then other people learn from that experience. Similarly, there are other internal boot camps which are going in the company, which are hands-on. So these are not just lectures that you just come and listen, but rather it's more of a hands-on exercise, and then it basically translates towards your OKRs as well. So in the annual review, it's very important to see like how much of a progress you have made in your personal development. Then this particular part of the world is also very certification oriented. Now it's coming more to be. So AWS certifications, Azure certifications, etc. I mean, we are very much focusing on that. Like in Pakistan right now, we have like the most skilled or certified team in Salesforce. So approximately everyone in the team, they have at least 3 to 4 certifications on, and those people are then, I mean, easier to be allocated on staff augmentation or project basis as well. So we in the company, to cut it short, have like a very learning oriented culture, which from the top inculcates into the bottom layer.
Excellent. So Talha, from your standpoint, because you have been placing a lot of people, right? And big companies have started reaching out to you in terms of getting larger teams, I guess, right? How much time it takes for a Pakistani talent, let's say a mid-level or a fresh grad, to transform into an employable candidate for North American market, let's say? Tricky question.
You put me on a spot here. It takes no time at all, and sometimes it takes 6 months, up to 6 months. So we run a lot of internal boot camps, let's be honest. Before I tell you something, I mean, comment on it. So when I started placing all these engineers in Silicon Valley-based companies, so from Pakistan, we started from Pakistan, it's a homegrown company. I used to get really frustrated, kyun nahi ho raha? Why is it not happening? Yeah, you know. So I've been working myself. I've been working with Silicon Valley companies. I started back in 2012. So I knew the mindset, like what type of engineer you have to be cross that threshold, or to be somebody that can really be impactful in any Silicon Valley company. We started in Pakistan. None of it resonated. And somebody sat me down and said, it is what it is. Jo hai, wo hai. You'll have to do it. So we started training people for soft skills. So we only hire top 1% people. We try to hire. And by top 1%, we never claim that this is the top 1% engineer in the world. It's the top 1% in the context that we are hiring. Like we're hiring from emerging economies, from Nigeria, from Pakistan, from Argentina, from Saudi Arabia, and all these different countries. So these are more or less the top 1 to 3% engineers from these countries. If they are technically good, it's easier to train them for the soft skills. So somebody, a very wise person, once told me, if you are an engineer, you can easily be converted to someone of a manager or somebody who can, manage things and be well. But if you're a manager, it's very difficult to make an engineer out of you. Why? Because it's a long process. It takes a lot of time. So if Adil once told me, if you want to be an expert in something, you have to spend 10,000 hours into that thing. So coming back to that, so we run a lot of boot camps, but that is mostly around the fact that we train you to be somebody who can work really well in a Silicon Valley company or a startup. So we have companies that we work with that range from being late seed stage to being tech unicorn. So we recently onboarded Fabric, which is a Pakistani startup here, I think based out of Seattle. It is now a unicorn, and we've started working with them. So they have a very, very high bar towards engineering. They would never hire anybody if the quality is not met. So, and then now we're trying to place people in Amazon here in the US. So we're not training these engineers technically a lot. We train them for the soft skills. We let them know, okay, this is going to be your path for the next 5 years. If you want to be a remote worker, if you want to go this route, this is something you need to do in order to succeed in it. And obviously, we've been doing well so far.
I think it's an excellent point, because this is the same trend which I've been observing mostly in Canada when we are placing people from our company, is that people are more looking now towards soft skills, comms, critical thinking,
100%. Critical thinking is the most important.
Yeah. So I think, and you see Pakistani talent coping up with that?
Pretty much, yes. So in our case, we have like 80%, between 70 to 80% of our placed engineers are from Pakistan. We place in good companies like Atoms.com, Swivel, Fabric, all sorts of companies, and Placer.ai, it's a $1 billion company as well. So these engineers do measure up. So once we place an engineer within a company, they really know that somebody has been onboarded, and these engineers have a very big impact on the tech process itself, on a lot of things. So
Excellent.
so we have an engineer who started off Sargodha. When he joined us, he didn't have anything. We trained him, and he stayed stuck with us. Now he's leading a team in a $1 billion company, Firefly. Not a $1 billion company, but they did their Series A from Sequoia, 15 million, and he's leading a team in this company. So life
That's
changed.
amazing.
It does. Just only because you are able to give them the direction that they've been looking for.
Thank you. Adil, from cost standpoint perspective, right? Because you have been operating from here, and hiring the resource here versus in Pakistan. So the parity levels, disparity is very, very high, and we are talking about $1 to 200 something, right? How it is from the looks of it, it's very, very cost effective, right? But if you keep the quality and all the dimensions in view, is it really, really cost effective, the Pakistani market, or is it not? And what is your view about it?
Yeah, so
because a lot of people, they come back with this argument that yes, Pakistan is cheap, but at the same time, learning curve is a bit higher, so our deliveries goes beyond the deadlines and so on and so forth. What is your view on this?
So one, nothing good is cheap in the world. So basically, if you look at, again, pre-COVID, it was a no-brainer. There was a huge cost difference. You can hire great talent at least like 10x difference from Pakistan or emerging economies versus the US. Now I would say it's reduced to not maybe 10x, but like 5x, 4x. So there's still a huge case you can make of hiring great talent from Pakistan. But again, if you go for the cheap talent, then that's what you're going to get. But if you are willing to spend money, hire like the top 1%, like Talha mentioned, then yeah, you can see good quality and while being cost effective at the same time. And similarly, so Pakistan, one of the great emerging economies, Latin America, we have also seen the same thing, US versus Latin America. Maybe the difference is not 5x there, it's like 3x, but still you get almost as good of a quality from Latin America or Pakistan as you can here in the US. Like, for example, we have had people in Latin America and one guy from Pakistan as well who's been the core contributor of Facebook's React, which is huge. Like nobody in Pakistan ever advertises that there's a Pakistani guy who's a core contributor in the React framework. That's a huge accomplishment, right?
That's amazing, and we don't get to hear all these news, right? So what I'm gathering from this discussion is that there is an amazing talent out there, and they've been contributing to Fortune 500, 50, 10 companies already, and some of them have become an amazing founders in the valley. So if you polish the talent a little bit, right, with the right approach, and you put them on the right path, I think they can compete in terms of quality also at a global
100%.
global levels, right? So coming back to one of the points which Ali was mentioning, training 100,000 people in KPK, for example, right, or in generally in Pakistan. Right? What are the trends which you see? Of course, we have these reports of data science coming on top and Kubernetes coming on top, containerization, cloud, and everything. But what trends you guys are seeing here so that we can go back and we can invest more time in terms of structuring that curriculum maybe? So starting from you, Talha, what trends do you see in terms of placements and so on and so forth? Because it's all about getting something back to Pakistan in terms of foreign exchange, plus also increasing the livelihood of the engineering community and generally the tech community in Pakistan. So yeah,
Sounds fair. I'm not going to comment on any trends because it's going to start a fight. This is something more important. If I say MERN stack is pretty hyped up these days, but somebody else is going to say, no, you work on Ruby and stuff. So, but I'm going to give you stats. So on our platform, almost 12,000 tests have been taken across 15 different stacks. And the stack that has been, that we hire for the most and for which the most number of tests have been taken is the MERN stack. So React on the front end and Node.js on the backend. So it's pretty hot. It's pretty easy to spin up, and all the startups here in the Bay Area, they like to work on these stacks. So the other day I was, by the way, traveling on Uber, and the driver told me that his son did a boot camp of, was from India. So he did a boot camp of 6 months and has been working in Facebook as a React.js engineer. So
Wow.
that was new for me. I mean, in 6 months, you could be on the level where you can work for companies like Facebook and stuff. So the stacks that we hire for the most is the MERN stack. We don't hire for ML or AI because that's a very different stack, and we have not been. So we generally interview people across 15 different stacks that we work with, mostly with web and mobile. So that's my take on the whole thing. I'm not going to comment on which stack is the best here because, trust me, for me, machines are machines. So you can do anything with them. So you have to have that mindset, and don't think like that, I can learn this thing in 6 months and then I'll be placed. Okay, you might be placed in a very good company, but you can only be a good engineer if you want to be a good engineer. And that's the number one advice I give to everybody within Remotebase. Try to be a good engineer. Don't try to be somebody who knows, React or ROR or, for that matter, anything.
Excellent, thank you. And I've seen the clock from the timekeeper. So thank you very much, guys. I think on a closing side, what I've gathered from this session is that we have an immense talent. We just need polishing help of Pakistani diaspora here to channelize some of the knowledge and help us develop some of the curriculums. I think another thing which we are gathering is the boot camps are very, very important for Pakistan. Short-term boot camps which can make the talent employable immediately. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the audience for listening to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Haris, for moderating the session, and to our panelists for a wonderful discussion.